I'm Chronoon.
I am Dagrin.
And I'm Adrian. And we have another treasure classic here, Alien Soldier, with Chronoon, a staff member running, and Dagrin for co-commentary.
hmm So yeah, Alien Soldier released in the late part of the late portion of the Genesis life cycle. Um, this is a pretty brutal game, much like the other one that I had to commentate for. The other run I did like a couple runs ago. I had to. There's like pretty much no room for error, which we'll kind of go more into. But yeah, I guess we'll go when Cronin's ready. He'll obviously get up to the once he goes to game start and selects game start. There's going to be a menu where he will choose between 6 selectable forces. Only 2 of them are useful. And that is the Flame Force and the Lancer Force, and that's primarily because Flame Force, I believe, does the most damage, but there are certain bosses that just it doesn't do any damage with, so we opt to use Lancer Force to deal with those threats. And Lancer is actually good damage, very good damage on those particular fights. So.
Yep.
He'll ideally want to keep those weapons and whatnot throughout this run. And with that being said, we're gonna go when Chronoon's ready.
So I'm just showing off the control test here. Neat little feature right before you start the game. Gives you all these instructions. You don't have to read the instruction manual. And it's important. Say if you play this on emulator, you wouldn't know. There's some really cool techniques here that are actually pretty essential for the speedrun. Well, they are pretty much essential. They're right here on the bottom here. So we have, oh yeah, shoot mode change. So zero teleport is the main thing. This is the most powerful tech that you can use, and I'm going to be using it as much as possible on every single boss fight I can, because that can get me quick kills on most of them and a bunch of damage. So I'm either going to be using it to kill the bosses in one go, or I'm going to whittle their health down and then find an opportunity to use it. And there's some little features with it, like I want to zero teleport against the edge of the screen, because if I hit an object, it'll cancel it immediately. So, like that, I will stay there for a little bit longer. The edge of the screen here doesn't really work. I guess there's like invisible walls. Counter force is just used to get health. Basically, the run's going to go, I'm going to explain this all beforehand. I want to get full health. You need full health to have the zero teleport, so I need to keep my health high, get health from projectiles, that's what the counter force is used for, and just blaze my way through. And also just be using the plain zero teleport to dash through enemies and getting good positions and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This game does have a small amount of RNG. It is pretty significant on a few bosses. I'll try to point them out, or Dagrin will. Especially the last boss, but we'll get there. But enough talking, I'm gonna get right into it. So, I'll count myself down. Yeah, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Alright, so, the major thing, oh wow, the delay is kind of crazy for me. Okay, so we've already mentioned about the zero teleport and whatnot, and how you need full life to actually utilize the strong part of the being's teleporter, and you're gonna see it right on this boss fight here. He is full life. And he is also going to try to manipulate the camera, get him to the very rightmost part of the screen, and there you go. That's a clean fight right there. This game is largely one giant boss rush, so there's not many opportunities to actually get health unless you actually utilize the counter force. Oh, there we go. Very nice backup there. Just let him come to you and just do the zero teleport like that. The other major thing that I don't think we did cover, though, is changing the shoot mode, which you probably saw in Gunstar Heroes how there were two different sort of playstyles, the fixed shot and the free shot. Treasure in later games actually tried to implement both playstyles on the same exact character, and that's performed by down and A. And also, yeah, you can switch between these weapons as well.
Pretty close there, almost got hit by a bomb. Yeah, this game is pretty laggy. There's a lot of sprites on screen, but actually the lag is to my benefit because it allows me to get even more damage.
So yeah,
bad timing there. It's fairly fine. Just use these bombs. You can reflect them into his butt. Nice boss, by the way. Pretty, very sexy boss.
Yeah, very appropriate. Yeah, it's kind of a luck-based boss if you don't actually have the health to do the zero teleport damage. I like to call it the Phoenix Dash, but yeah, zero teleport is what it's actually called. You can see how there's not like too many opportunities to actually get help. You kind of have to be. This is a game that was made with the hardcore gamers in mind. Like they even said that, I believe.
For Mega Driver's Custom.
Mega Drive Custom, yes. That's how they like to refer to as the hardcore gamers on the Genesis of the Genesis variety. All right, so now that he's done with Madame Babar, he's now going to face the Joker. This is another kind of luck-based boss. He can do one of two things. Ideally, we want him to do a mega jump onto the ceiling.
Looking pretty good.
Just that. Looking pretty good. Yeah, you can tell right away if he's doing it, if he's really leaning in for a big jump. If he's doing, like, he leans down a little bit less, he's going to do a standard jump, and you have to deal with, like, Ed shooting at you and whatnot. Also, this section here is pretty rough at times.
Yeah, I missed the jump to avoid getting hit here, but I still managed to get health. So I'm gonna get this zero here, and then
So
2 Lancers, and we're done.
Yeah, speaking of boss fights where Flame is completely ineffective, this is one such fight. Basically, Flame Force doesn't really do any damage to any particular boss that's a machine type. So that's when you want to alternate to the Lancer. Otherwise, you will see a lot of the Flame Force being used for quite a lot of the bosses. However, many fights in the later portion of the game actually are not going to be very... Flame Force will not be too effective in the later game. There are a few bosses, but that are kind of weak to Flame.
I was a little worried that this fight can go pretty badly. It depends on how close he is when he swipes at you. But that was close enough. I was able to just flame him a little bit after. If you do miss like the quick kill there, you have to hunt him down in the dark, and it just wastes a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a pretty luck-dependent fight when you go for that particular setup. He sometimes won't always cooperate, and then you're kind of at the mercy of luck at that point. Well, I mean, you're at the mercy of luck in that fight. There is a quick kill setup, but it's very hard to do it properly. Right, so now there's no more wind pushing Chronoon, but he's got to try to get rid of this, I guess we'll call him a worm. Try and get all this health back good. He will have full life for the next boss coming up here, who's, well, we're gonna let the cutscene kind of speak for itself. It's a lot of build-up and not much payoff after the cutscene. Let's just say he's probably the easiest fight in this level. I probably would confidently say that.
Yeah. All bark and no bite.
All bark and no bite. Literally. Interesting thing with this fight, though, is that Yeah, the interesting thing though is that you can't really get too close to him until he starts doing the little dance, like side to side. His hitbox just shrinks there, and then you can get close enough to do more damage to him with the flame force. And that was a nice display of the quick kill.
Alright,
Nice
this
shot,
fight is
man.
also pretty easy. There's gonna be like one of the rare glitches in this game coming up after this. Whoop. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. It's gonna be right after this fight. I'm just gonna focus on getting it.
See, try to utilize the camera again, but it looks like I think his body was a little too high up. I guess when the damage was.
Okay, so I missed the getting that item there. I forgot. It's the one after this fight. You could still use a trick. Basically, you get above the ceiling. Okay, again, I have to focus for this fight. This is actually one of the most random fights, and it can be a huge time waste if I not get the right kill here. So I'm gonna want to restore my health on one of these enemies. Oh no! That's unfortunate. So I'm gonna lose about 15 seconds here. If I got some health, I could have done a 0 and have killed him by now. Now we have to wait for him to do this whole animation, and I'm just gonna shoot him down. I also have to make sure I don't fall down again like an idiot. Like so.
We talk about luck in this game. I mean, a lot of bosses aren't really too luck dependent, but there's some that are really, really bad, and that's one particular fight that is really awful. Like, he can choose to do a number of different things. He did start with an ideal pattern, but again, if you don't have the health starting off, yeah.
A little sloppy there, my bad.
That's fine.
I was just trying to balance commentating and playing at the same time. But everything is still fairly fine. This is just a little section here. Also, we got like a mini little trouble brewing. Maybe a distant cousin and out in space, just rocking out on the ship here. I'm just here just making some lobster barbecue.
He looks like a teddy bear too.
He's a good person, a good bear.
Yeah, pretty much one of the rare times you're gonna find an actual ally. But
I mean,
of course,
he's a cute dude, but we're gonna say bye to him here. It's time for the next fight.
Yeah, so time for the giant enemy lobster. Cue the memes. Slight alteration of the meme. So there's something actually pretty important about this fight. Chronoon's actually controlling how the boat is moving, and that is simply done by holding a direction. A fixed shot really is essential for that fight in order to prevent yourself from moving along with the boat and accidentally falling off. Because if you don't move at all and you don't cause the boat to move one side to one wall and then the other, you'll end up just teleporting to dodge the guy's attacks and just fall into the water. It's bad. It's just a really, really questionable boss design choice.
And I also missed a 0 there because I ran out of health. Again, if I run out of health, I'm gonna probably miss some kind of formula for the quicker fight. So we use a 0 early here to break open the chrysalis because he drops these babies here, these little worm babies. It's a little trouble making sure I don't get hit, but I can farm a little bit. It's a little random. Okay. Yeah, so it's a weird mix of like burning them down and getting some 0s in.
Alright, so Bug Max out of the way now, and well, next boss doesn't really have a name. I just call him Son of Sun because that's literally the first thing I think about when I think of any boss that has a one eye to him. This is the point in the game, though, where we really want to start maxing out some of our weapons, and you'll actually see that Chronoon, with every weapon pickup that's the same as the weapons he's starting with, he will gain an extra 250 some energy.
Alright, so I'm setting up I wouldn't really call this a glitch. Okay, I messed up. I got one. I got lucky. But basically, you can go through those falling rocks, save a little time if you're like in a few pixels worth of space there.
Alright, so Sunset Sting.
I'm,
The
let's
main-
see. I want to get some more health here. So I need to just delay a little bit. Can I kill him?
This
Okay.
this boss has some stingers that will poison you. To get him off, you have to teleport. And ideally, Chronoon wants to be full life here for the not the next fight, but the fight coming up after. And hopefully, he does maintain this health. for
Alright,
that
so I can...
fight.
Okay, good. We didn't have to deal with enemies. Trick here. I messed up. I should have practiced this. So what I was supposed to do is hover way at the bottom there. I'm gonna lose like 10 seconds now, because I'm a noob. If you hover down there, you can just burn this spider's butt cheeks until he's dead. But instead, I'm up here, and I kind of have to wait for his little babies to try to drag me down to death. It's kind of unfortunate. I also lost health, so I won't be able to get the 0 on the next fight, which is pretty sick. It's, I don't know, I just learned that strat basically, but it's okay. It's still not too bad.
Yeah, this as Chronoon said, the weak point is the backside. His face actually, you do like a tiny little bit of damage with Flame Force, but the ideal amount of damage you do with Flame Force is if you get him on the backside. And there we go. The more important thing is just not dying. If you do die, you do lose all the force buildup that Chronoon's been working on thus far. So, pretty important that he actually maintains that. So, this next fight, since Chronoon doesn't have the 0 teleport to utilize here, he's gonna be using a lot of Lancer here. This boss cannot be damaged with Flame Force.
Yeah.
As pretty much everything that's mechanical.
Lancer and Laser are definitely the best weapons on this fight. Anything else makes it extremely slow. So I also want to make sure I hit him. His feet blocks the attacks, but it's not too bad. I'm pretty used to it. Pretty used to the aiming there.
Good job.
Thank you. So we're gonna have a little break here. Little cutscene. Actually, the only cutscene in the game. Well, besides a little boat sequence. I'm not going to get into the lore because it's very convoluted. This game was made by only one person until the very end of its development. He wanted to make it a lot bigger, but he couldn't just because of development crunch. And it's crazy. I'm actually like a boy that's possessed by an alien space terrorist, but the terrorist is good, and he's fighting the other terrorist. Who's this guy? You never see him. It's never even explained. That guy I just beat was like my prototype version. It's really confusing, but let's not worry about it. It's just some freaky enemies that I'm just killing en masse.
Also, like, based on the lore, they make it sound like Zai Tiger's like the main guy, so apparently there's some as well, since he's not the last guy.
This is a little crazy part. I want to get 3 Lancers now. We're not going to need Flame except for a few more fights. I did kind of mess up, but at least I got a Lancer in the right place, so it's fine. Now to set up a good fight here. I want to get like 2 to 3 0 teleports on this boss, and I have enough health, so it should be fine.
Alright, so yeah, Destroyer, how he kind of works is he likes to inch his way right. And eventually, once he goes too far right, he will do that teleport to the other side. Very nice fight. Wow.
Thank you. Alright, and I got through that section. That section is a pain in the butt. And I got the health too. Hopefully I don't need to use it here. This is Melon Bread, if you remember from Gunstar. I don't think they actually landed on that space, so... he's a bit of a freak. He's a lot more difficult in this game, but not by much. Okay, he nearly stabbed me.
Too.
Yeah, he's kind of a jerk. But he's done with. He's gone. And now for the probably the most difficult fight in the game, especially in the speedrun. It's all zeros all the time. That's the optimal route. 5 fights in a row. Yeah, this is 7 Force. So I'm going to just shut up for this whole next, I think, like 5-ish minutes.
Yeah. Alright. time for me to take over here. So yeah, it's important that he didn't take a hit to Melon Bread. That's kind of why he's a bit of a problem, because he comes right before this fight. The other major thing with this fight is that all 7 forces is mechanical. So that's why it's very important that Chronoon needed that extra Lancer force, like swapping out one of the flames for the Lancer force. And if you die at any point in this fight, you will have to do the entire fight again. And this is often where a lot of people tend to get walled off. But yeah, the 7 Force in Gunstar Heroes is mostly about bad luck and whatnot. This is about just really just fine-tuning execution. It's a pretty scary fight. Okay, so...
Damn it. I missed a zero on that. It's the hardest zero to get, I think, in the game. It's very, very tight window to get that one. But it's fine. I just need to aim.
Yeah, so this phase will go a bit longer, but thankfully Lancer does deal with them pretty quickly. And now we move on to the second last form. This is one where you need the health, and you need that projectile right there that cat decided to throw at you. And now we're gonna see a lot of abusing of the Zero Teleport.
So I'm waiting to get a good position. I'm not getting the best zeros here. I just need one more. Oh shit! I got it. Woo! What the fuck? Okay. Now, there's a reason why we need 3 Lancers, and that is for this fight. Again, he's only weak to Laser and Lancer, and you use him all up on this fight. So right now I have, I think, only 1 Lancer at like half ammo, half full ammo. It should be fine. They're restoring right now. By the way, ammo restores while you're not using it, as long as you're not selected it. But I can't miss much like that. That's bad. I have a decent amount of health. I really don't want to have to use Counterforce up close.
Yeah,
it looks like I'm gonna have to though. That's a little spooky. Alright, one more check. Whoop. Okay. Okay, I missed. That's good.
A lot of damage, so.
Alright, I'm a little spooked here. Just take a little time to get that last hit in. If I went in for counters again, I would probably get hit twice and die. So, there it is.
Take it safe. Oof. Yeah,
it's
a real
stressful fight. It's
good intuition to just bail out of Counterforce. That's kind of the thing with Counterforce. It's pretty low damage, but it is essential in a certain fight. But we'll get to that when we get there. Its one characteristic is the fact that it's the only weapon that's not isn't countered with immunity. Like we've mentioned how certain bosses are immune to certain forces, but one force that can't be countered is the counter force and the
Zero Force, which is when you have no ammo, no weapon. You have like a default weapon. It's very weak, but it can attack anything. So yeah, that was just a breather. It can recharge ammo and get some health from those asteroids if you counter them. Oh, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah, so here's another left-based fight.
Okay, so I wasn't able to get 4, but I've never gotten 4 in that fight before, so whatever. Not bad.
It's still better than I've ever done that fight. Yeah, like I said, it's a pretty luck-dependent fight. And ideally, you don't want one of the other ones where he throws the gun out in front, because the gun will actually absorb the hits. So. And now this is yet another important time for him to actually get some help.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, it's a little scary at the end there. The missiles come up. The enemies fire those machine guns kind of randomly. You just have to be in a good position, have a good sense of timing, so that you keep health. So if you notice in top right underneath the weapon icons, there's a timer. If you didn't notice that before, it's always been there. On this fight in particular, especially for casual players, you will run out of time if you don't kill him quickly enough. Even on super easy, which is hard by the way, despite being called super easy. But that once you get the 0 in, the setup is really simple. This next fight is a little less simple, but it should go alright. We're actually closing in on the end here. I think, yeah, 3 more fights.
Yep. Yeah, so Wolfgun Blood, he shoots bullets, and if you destroy those bullets, they drop health, and that includes with the 0 teleport. You're gonna see him...
Shoot, I had an extra 0 there, I didn't even notice it. But that's fine.
Oh.
It would have saved only 1 second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the flame is the primary damage dealer, but you need to actually damage yourself. Okay, so
taking damage there is... You can get a 0 on this fight, but I don't even know if it's useful yet. But there is still a quick fight anyway. Oh shoot, I didn't pick the 2000 Lancer. I might lose 4 seconds here. I probably... Yeah.
Yeah, there's a quick kill setup with this guy. Like, you got to stand in a pretty precise spot in order to dodge all the damage, and then you got to be able to actually do enough damage in order to prevent this guy from going up like he just did there. It's pretty precise.
Alright, so here we are. Final fight. This is the most RNG in the game. He has a chance of doing this laser attack. He can do it as many times as he wants. It's 15 seconds each, so it's up to luck. And I can also get a quicker kill if I can get a 0 in, but that also depends on luck, so, you know, that's how it is. It's a treasure game.
Yeah. So, we mentioned about the 0 force having no immunities. This guy is immune to every single force except that. And there's also a projectile he's going to throw out that you need to counter, which Chronoon did there.
Gosh. Kind of slipped on my thing. Oh, also seizure warning. I should have mentioned that earlier. It's a very flashy boss. Yeah. Okay, it's a little gross. I am... Well... Okay. I'm just gonna concentrate here.
Yeah, okay, I'll just continue. So, this fight is also not just luck because of the whole laser attack. You want him to also move himself to the... You want him to move to the left side so you can 0 teleport. And there it is. There he is. He flipped the table and is now proceeding to do the laser attack. This takes about 15, 17 seconds to finish.
So that was good. Boy, be nice. I missed.
Yeah, this is where good runs go to die. You know those times in a run where you have a good run and well, luck can screw you, and like just one single mistake can really cost you in this run. But yeah, that is time.
I'm actually the one on the timer. Yeah, the time was on the last hit, so I think that was like more like a 24-26. That's about what I expected. I try to include that RNG in terms of the estimate. Personally, if I could reset, I would be aiming for like a 22 or a 23. But that's how it is. Pretty decent overall. I didn't get a good Professor Hyrule Kakamimi. That was like the robot dude with the 4 arms spinning around in the water section. This is canon name. And I missed the quick kill on the spider, and of course Epsilon 1, which was Robo Bird. But 7 Force was actually pretty good. I wasn't able to get everything. Not fully practiced, I'll say, but pretty good.
It was a clean run overall.
Yeah, I guess let me just explain 2 things. One, Treasure's awesome. Play every single game that you can. From Genesis onto the Wii. They're all really good games, and we're still a separate community. I hope that the Treasure community unifies. If there's any other Treasure fans out there that's not connected to the other ones, please hit us up. We love to like get together. I'd love to have like a Treasure marathon at some point. That's just my love for these games. I really like this game. Other thing, so this was super easy. There's two difficulties, super easy and super hard. The main difference, super easy, you have unlimited lives basically, but you do lose your weapons and stuff. On super hard, you only have 4 lives. It's game over. You start from scratch. There's more enemies, different places. Bosses have more HP. It's still a really hard game, but it's arcadey. It's meant for you to replay it as over and over again. We're probably gonna switch before the end, but there's like a score screen. There's gonna be like a character roll. But yeah, it's not super easy. It is not.
No, it's not.
It is super fun though. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Alright, well, thank you so much, Chronoon, for the run, and Dagrin for the co-commentary. And up next... And up next, we have what is dubbed the Monster Fecta. 4 Monster World games in a row, any percent by Berlin Dude 1. So stay tuned for that, that'll be